Shit, what's this podcast called?
Discourse of Human Events.
The discourse is just crazy.
Everything's okay, I'm just trying to act my age. Yeah, I wanna know where the hell the days go. Yeah, I wanna know where the hell the days go. I wanna look and feel years younger, baby. I wanna look and feel years.
Once again, from Anaheim, California, live in the same room, we are re-dildoing. Ready?
I'm gonna spit out my bourbon.
2, 3, dildos.
California style, baby.
Now, what are we going over this
Alright,
time,
so-
after we just recorded one podcast?
So since we're so drunk, we said let's just go ahead and do the other podcast, and we're gonna go over basically what we've done through this week. Well, we've gone through Vegas and California. It was a great trip so far. It's only gonna get more amazing after UFC, obviously. So let's start from the beginning. So 9 p.m. I flew out from Ohio on Frontier Airlines. And Frontier Airlines, I gotta say, they are the basic of the basic, but I loved them. There was not shit to do on the plane except what you brought, but the people there were great. They were excellent. I have nothing but good things to say about Frontier Airlines and their workers. The flight, like right at the 4-hour mark, started to be like, oh my god, I'm getting kind of bored. Like, I can only edit my own writing and
4
stuff.
hour? How long was the flight?
It was like 3 hours and 45
you said
minutes.
at the 4-hour mark.
So, like, okay, but, like, I didn't actually time it. That's what it said it should take.
Okay.
So, like, towards the end, let me say towards the end of the flight, it was
Okay.
starting to get like, oh my god, this is...
Because you had never
Getting
flown
annoying.
before, so it was really
Correct.
exciting to actually fly.
Yeah, so, like, for the first 2 hours, I was excited, and then I started editing some things I was writing and stuff like that, so I started doing work. And then towards the end, I was like, I'm starting to I've been in a cramped position for a
towards the
while.
end, you're like, oh, wait a second. Flying actually sucks when you're used to it.
Yeah. It's more like being in a cramped space for a while
Yes,
sucks.
that's
What sucks about it. So I get that. But then it was like, all right, it's time for landing. I'm like, yes, let's land. It's going to be awesome. Which, by the way, I was not expecting that, like, how fast they land. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, like, aren't we supposed to, like, slow down a little more before we land?
Yeah.
Like, damn, like, I don't know we're coming in the
plane
hot.
shakes and you just...
Yeah. When we landed, I was like, Jesus, like, I thought it would be nice and smooth, but no, not at all.
Nope.
But, still, nothing but good things to say about Frontier Airlines. So, I land in the Strip, I go to this Airbnb, because it was $30 a day.
Yeah, I reserved this, and here's the thing. It was really close to the airport.
It was.
And I was like, this is perfect. It's really cheap. It's close to the airport. How bad can it be so close to
Yeah.
such a great central location? And close to the airport, it's not far from the Strip. It was perfect geographical location.
5 minutes car ride. It was
Yeah.
perfect. Like, I understand exactly why you booked it. I go to this spot. I've delivered pizzas to hoods. I know exactly what a hood looks like. I walked up to this place and I'm like, holy shit, this is the fucking hood. Like, there are literal
This isn't
tons
the hood.
and
this
bums.
Is the hoodiest of the hoods.
Like, I am too white and too pasty for this area. Like, I'm gonna get shot. But...
And subsequently, the whole week, every Lyft driver and Uber driver we took to and from the Strip to this place,
Yeah.
everyone mentioned when they were driving there, like, so you guys Airbnb, huh? Like, and this is where you came to?
Yeah, like, there's...
you gotta be careful about those Airbnbs,
Yeah.
is what they were saying. Like,
One Lyft driver literally said, there's a lot of bums in this neighborhood. Yes, I get
It
it.
was a shady fucking area.
It was shady, but it was only $30 a night. So it's like, how much do you risk for versus the price?
Thing, the apartment. So it was an apartment complex, and there was like
it was definitely a dude just renting out an apartment and then subletting it.
But it was like 10 apartments back. You go into the entrance, and there's one apartment building, then another, and it's like the 10th, 8th, whatever. Mm-hmm.
It was like letters, so it was like P through S, and we were R.
Yeah. And basically, I definitely told every Uber and Lyft driver, go all the way to the end to that building, because I do not want to get out in the other letters. I do not want to walk in any amount of distance that I did not have to walk otherwise. I want to get
the
to
one dude that was with us laughed when we said that, because it's like he understood. He like... You don't want to have to walk farther than you do, huh? And like, no, definitely not. Okay, so that's the first thing I did. I went to the Airbnb just to drop off my stuff. The Chinese dude, who was really nice, like showed me.
I never met him.
Yeah,
other than you. I came a day late, and so Zach was there.
He was there to make sure like I arrived and to show me how to. There was like a lockbox that had the key to the door in there, and he wanted to make sure I knew how to put the key away. So he showed me. Yeah, he showed me how to do the passcode and get the key, and then he wanted me to do it so that he knew how to close the code, and then he walked me through, gave me like a quick tour. There was some Korean lady at the very end.
Really?
Yeah, in the other room, there was a Korean lady. If you didn't notice, the light was on and off sometimes.
I never saw
And the first night I stayed there at like 3 a.m., she got up. Like, I heard her moving around. He said she's just somebody else living there. I don't know if she was Airbnb or just living there.
Yeah, okay.
Weird. So we never saw her at all for the 3 days 3 days, right? 3 nights 3 days we were there, but we were barely ever actually there.
Yeah.
But we didn't see her one bit. She basically stayed in her room.
Yeah.
So anyways...
She's like a Korean otaku, or whatever.
Yeah, he just said there's a Korean lady staying in there. That's all he said, basically. So he showed me the room, showed me, okay, before you leave, turn off the air conditioning and lock the door. Make sure you lock the door. So that was it. He was a really nice guy. He just wanted to make sure I knew what to do and where everything was at. Mm-hmm. It was a very basic setup inside. It was like 2 beds, but they were basically cots, and then like two what do they call them? TV dinner stands next to the beds, so you could like set alarm clocks or phones or whatever. It was
basic, but it was cheap as shit.
It was basic. It was, if I had to put it, it was worth the money because it was only $30.
Do you want to be in that?
$30 a night, yeah.
Because the hotel's that close to the strip in the hotel, but in a different geographic location that is like good. Like $150 a night easy. I
will say that it's tricky as hell when you say that close because it's a 5-minute drive, but I could walk out, and I did walk one day, 40-minute walk to the strip.
Yeah.
So it's 5-minute drive and 40-minute walk does not add up normally.
It's weird because like the buildings you see are
you're like, oh hey, there's the MGM Grand. An hour later of walking, you're like, I finally arrived.
The buildings are huge relative to everything else you see. Yeah. So they look really close. Like, it's like an optical illusion. Like, it's right there. I can see it over everything else.
And it's still just, it's still right there. Still right there. Still, okay, somewhat closer. So, first day I flew in, did the whole Airbnb thing. Then I had In-N-Out.
That was at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I got in about 10 o'clock. I went to In-N-Out Burger. I got a Lyft, and I was like, I want to go to the Strip. And he's like, where do you want to go? I was like, well, I've never ate In-N-Out. Do they have an In-N-Out on the Strip? The Lyft driver was like, yeah, I'll take you to the In-N-Out on the Strip. So he took me to the In-N-Out on the Strip. I ate the In-N-Out, and that place was fucking packed.
Yeah.
The word In-N-Out was not happening there. I think I waited about 20-25 minutes for a burger.
Really?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It was about 20. I told you, I got everybody gets their number. I was number 18, and after I got my ticket, I heard them call like 75. And the tickets roll over at 100.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, holy shit, like, I am not up for a while. Like, I knew it after I got my ticket. And I could kind of tell it was busy. Anyway, so I got my burger, and I was actually kind of disappointed because it was kind of burnt, and it wasn't that good. I was like, man, this In-N-Out was hyped up.
About?
Yeah. But then I kind of thought in my head, like, but they were fucking packed, so they're probably throwing these out, as... Yeah. They're not making them to standard. So I ate In-N-Out. I kind of walked the Strip, just basically getting a lay of the land of the Strip. I happened to walk by the Bellagio, so I watched the fountain, which was, it's a water fountain show. It's for free? Cool.
Let me say, that's basically, if you go on Yelp and look at things to do in Vegas, and then you filter by free, it's the number one thing.
Yeah.
For free, but everything costs money in Vegas, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of cool. It was only it's every half hour and it lasts 3 minutes. So I do recommend you watch it. It's Singing in the Rain to Fountain. So it is worth the free.
Yeah. The walk there is what it costs.
Exactly. You're going to want to check out the Bellagio anyways. So might as well check that out.
It's good. It's nice to just walk through every casino.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad we did that later on through the week. So after that, I played some roulette. And by the way, when I play roulette, I always just pick red. It doesn't really matter if you pick red or black. I just go with red because it's my favorite color. And I just put my money on red. Sometimes I'll hedge my bet and put $3 red and $1 black because it's just the smarter way to play if you're going to do that. Unless 0 comes up. But the chances of that are low. So
you feel better about your stupid gamble for
a
while.
But if you're going to gamble, which I'm in Vegas, might as well gamble. I do that. Every time I've won money, it was with roulette. Every time I've lost money, it was with slot machines. So I tried to limit money with slot machines just because slot machines take up time. So it's a nice, I'm just going to play some slots for a while. And it's kind of cool to see.
Blink.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see the different way they set up the slot machines, like the different games.
I never understand what's going on.
Yeah, you have to read the rules.
No, you
read
don't,
the rules.
because it doesn't matter. You don't affect them. No matter what you do. Like, the rules are this way, so I'm going to pull the lever a different way. No, you don't. You just pull the lever.
It's only fun because it's more exciting to know how you won and if you win before the lights go off.
It doesn't matter what you do.
It is fun. It's like putting money on red without actually knowing what that means. So when it lands on red, you're like, yeah! But if you didn't know what that means, you'd be like, do I win? Do I win?
Honestly, I never read any of the rules on slot machines, and when we played, I didn't gamble much because I think they're stupid.
They are.
But every time I was like, did I win? I won!
I've done that.
I don't know how, but I did.
I did that with plenty of slot machines until I was like, I should read the rules so I'm at least excited for my bets when I win before it tells me I've won.
Yeah.
So that was basically my Monday because it started at 9 p.m. It was basically just arriving. So I woke up the next day, early as could be. I got some Starbucks, just wanted to get a nice early Starbucks, get a start to my day. I went to Cobra Kai Jiu-Jitsu.
Come on, say it. Cobra Kai. Say it. Cobra Kai. Never die. Bet your ass.
They beat the crap out of me for a little while. There was only one guy who I gave a chance, which for the people listening that do jiu-jitsu, there was a weird thing, they did the class, they went through the drills really quick. And then it was it was an hour class. They went through the drills like an hour. It was really quick. And it's all no-gi. And then, for the half hour, instead of just open rolling, the instructor picked who you rolled with. Which is really different than usual. It's like, okay, Zach, you're rolling with this person. This person, you're rolling with this person. This person, you're rolling with this person. And I feel like the first person I rolled with, I obviously had more, I had more skill than him. And then all of a sudden, the people I rolled with after that were destroying me. And I was like, what the hell? Obviously I'm being rolled against people that are way better than me after I did well against this person. This was a weird thing. But the people there obviously were really good. So can't really say anything bad about Cobra Kai because they were really good. But they are strictly no-gi. Or at least that day I came was no-gi. So after that I walked... I think I was headed... Where was I headed? I think I was headed back to the Strip. Yeah, because Cobra Kai was slightly outside of the Strip, so I headed back to the Strip. On the way back to the Strip, I happened to walk by a pot store.
And for people that have never been to Vegas, first of all, the Strip is basically where the vast majority of all the casinos... Yes. All the casinos you've heard of are. They're all in a row.
The MGM Grand, the Bellagio, the Luxor.
Yeah.
All the stuff people care about.
And it's a pretty big road, but that's basically...
Yeah. When you say the Strip, it's to walk it would probably be 2 hours.
Yeah. But continue.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
that's
people
good.
that have never been to Vegas know what the fuck that is.
So, the pot store, whatever you call those, dispensary.
You just happened upon this.
Yeah, I just actually happened to see that. I was like, oh, sweet, a dispensary. And for people that don't know, July 1st, so I was here, what was that, July 25th, 26th? They just happened to legalize it recreational. So it's been legal medicinally for a while. So there's already dispensaries, and they just basically flipped over real
They're
quick.
just like, oh shit.
Oh, now
over that sign.
Yeah, now we can sell to anybody. Okay. So when I walked in, they took my ID, they gave me a number, and they sat me down. And it was like a waiting room because it was like a medicinal thing. So they tried to treat it like as if you would see a doctor. You know what I mean? Like they sat me down, you had your number, and you were waiting in a waiting room.
Before they would come in and they'd be like, "What's your problem?" "Oh, my back."
Yeah.
And then they'd be, "Here's your marijuana." Now it's, "What's your problem?" "Oh, I'm bored. Here's your marijuana."
Basically. So they sat me down, I waited, and they had like a TV screen that had like a rolling menu, which is really interesting.
That
See
is
a rolling
crazy.
menu of pot, basically. So eventually they call my number and they take me into the back room. And the back room is more like, okay, here's 2 giant display cases of all the pot we have. And it was like, it was overwhelming. Like I didn't even know what to look at because it was like every single way to smoke pot and every single level of smoking pot.
I told Zach he
Or
should
eating.
try them and say, "I like to take my pot anally." And see if they had a solution.
Now that you said that, I am kind of curious if they do
If they
have
do, they're
suppository...
Oh yeah, we have pot dildos. Here you go.
Suppository marijuana. I'm curious if it actually exists. It has to.
There is.
Right? It has to.
There is butt chugging, which is alcohol up the asshole.
It has to
right?
exist.
If you can do it, dumb people will do it.
And I wonder if it works the same as eating it. Like, because it would go in... It'd
know.
absorb the
I'm
same
not a
way in your
fucking doctor.
bloodstream. I'm not a goddamn
You know what?
doctor.
I think it would work mostly the same way, but it would be a little more shitty.
You son of a bitch. So, anyways, I clearly make a purchase because it's pot and it's legal. Anyway, so after I make my purchase, they put it in a bag, and they have like, after 1,000, you don't open your bag unless you're 1,000 feet within the store. They don't want people smoking pot or anything. So I walk away. I don't know how far away I was. I light up my joint and enjoy my joint. Which, by the way, they sold pre-rolled joints, which is pretty awesome because I don't know how to roll
Who wants
joints.
to roll?
Like, that's a lot of effort. I go to gambling. I go to Caesar's Palace. I really like Caesar's Palace. I played roulette, played slots, and whatever. I eat In and Out again. Now this is the key, because the first time, since it was so busy, I was like, I need to try it again because people say it's so good, and I was not impressed. I eat it again, and it was really good. It wasn't a burnt burger. The fries are kind of weird because they're not like really salty. You have to add your salt.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put it. They're not like so oily.
Yeah, that's definitely the best way to put it. They're not
Yeah.
oiled like crazy like most places are.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they have any oil to them. I don't know how they cook them, but it feels like they're very clean. That's the best way to put it. It's like the cleanest fast food.
I think their burgers are really cheesy. That's one thing I like.
Yes.
They've got plenty of cheese on their burger.
Get the double-double, because
Who doesn't get
Yeah.
the double-double?
if you're going to go to In-N-Out, get the double-double and fries. That's what you got to try. So I am impressed with In-N-Out after eating it for a second time. I feel like the first one was definitely just they were rushing everything out as quick as they could, or leaving burgers on the oven,
Fryer,
the fryer, whatever, too long, which is probably what happened to mine. So, anyways, I visited different casinos just to get a lay of the land again, and then finally I saw Penn and Teller. What was it? 8. I went in line for Penn and Teller. Great balcony seats. Like, I could see everything perfectly. The only problem with balcony seats is you won't get picked for any of the things where they pick people. Mm-hmm. They had great tricks. I don't know if anybody knows, but, like, they had Love Ritual, which is, like, you take 4 cards before you go in, and it's a whole thing with everybody in the audience participates, and as long as you follow directions, you'll basically rip up a bunch of cards and end up with the same cards. It's basically a math trick. But it's pretty awesome. They have one where they disappear an elephant, but the elephant is a cow dressed up as an elephant. Because listening to Penn and Teller's podcast, or Penn, I should say, his podcast, they
Teller
talk...
doesn't say much.
Yeah.
He could be podcasting for all we know.
He's podcasted every single time. But they say they couldn't get an elephant to fit, like, logistically into the casino. But it was a great show. The only problem I had with it was the fact that I'm such a big fan of Penn and Teller. I already knew most of the tricks that they did. It's like nothing was a surprise to me, except maybe one or two tricks, because they're like, oh, and I got to see Love Ritual live. Like, I've heard everything about the Love Ritual, but I've never seen it done. So that was pretty sweet to actually see it done after hearing about it for so long. So that was pretty cool. And then afterwards, they had the meet and greet. And Penn Jillette always talks about how he makes sure he always does a meet and greet, and they stay until the very end. But the meet and greet is basically like take pictures with Penn and Teller and say hi, it was pretty fucking awesome. And the most impressive thing was Teller. Obviously, he's done it a million times, but he just takes your phone and does a selfie immediately. Like, within 2 or 3 seconds, he's got a selfie in. Like,
he is a pro.
100 different phones, and he knows exactly how to work them. It's amazing, like, how quickly he does it. Like,
this is why I've always felt that, like, he's the brains of the operation and Teller's the showman.
Have you not heard him say that?
Showman.
Have you
Penn
not
has said that?
Yeah, he's said that many times.
That guy knows how to get shit done.
Yeah.
And he knows how to get pictures taken.
Exactly.
It helps that story.
He says that with Penn and Teller fool us. He's like, Teller basically knows how. He's like, I'm fooled by every trick, but Teller is not. He's like, he actually understands how tricks are done.
Penn is actually fooled by that little thumb trick that you divide it in half. He doesn't know how that works.
He's like, whoa.
Penn is basically Teller has his hand up Penn's ass and is like doing a little ventriloquism act, as far as I know.
I will say it was awesome to see them live. It was great. It was definitely a different. I don't know how to say it. Just different to see them live perform the tricks I've seen on TV. To see them do it live was pretty interesting, because it's interesting that how much they've perfected it. Like, you could tell they don't skip a beat. Like, it's the same exact trick. Like, they've done this 100 times, and they're going to do it the same exact way, because if they screw it up, it's going to screw the trick up. So they have to do it exactly the same way. The only one disappointment, I wanted to see the bullet catch.
Oh, yeah,
but I wanted to see the bullet catch. It's their number one trick.
That's their most famous trick, so everyone knows it and everyone's seen it on TV.
Which is why everyone wants to see it. It's like, if you're, like, Chumbawamba, you're not going to play tub thumping?
I can imagine going to the restaurant and they don't play that.
Exactly. Are you not going to play your best trick? But then again, Penn and Teller aren't one-trick ponies.
They have other tricks that aren't complete shit.
Yeah. But it was great to see them live and take a picture with them, and that whole experience was pretty awesome. So that was pretty much the end of Tuesday. So Wednesday, you actually came in. What did you fly? How was your flight?
I flew American. It was
just American,
right? Yeah, I've flown enough where they just
seem the same to you.
Me, I don't distinguish. It's like if it was shit, I could tell.
But it was average.
Did anything happen of interest?
About flying. Mm-hmm. One way we've known the terrorists have won, like literally the terrorists have won, is if you look at your charges for a plane ticket, there is a 9/11 charge, 9/11 a September 11th fee. I think they call it a September 11th security fee.
So now you will never forget, because you charge you every fucking time.
Yeah, that is such bullshit. Like, stop. Just stop.
Here's what was interesting. This is the first time I packed weird shit. So I've flown several times, and I've never been... No, I was checked one time in China because... again, weird shit. Alright. In China...
Dildos again?
No, I found these little... the first time I was in China, I found these little Apple lighters. Like
Apple lighters? Like,
they were
shaped
lighters.
Like the Apple logo,
No.
or like an apple?
Normal lighters, but they had the Apple logo on them.
Okay.
Apple doesn't fucking make
lighters, right?
It's just in China they
I get
have
what you're
very
saying.
loose intellectual property laws.
Yeah, I
put
get
the
what
Apple
you're saying.
logo on there, and they're like, Apple made this lighter, buy it. So I thought it was hilarious. And for little gifts, I thought I'd bring back a bunch of Apple lighters, cheap gifts to give everyone.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you put 20 lighters in your checked baggage, they'll be like, that's a lot of...
They don't take kindly to that.
Gasoline to put in there. So they searched it. They were like, yeah, these gotta go. And then they took my lighters, my cheap as shit lighters, and threw them away. Like, you can't take those. Sorry. That was the one time before.
Oh, they got you, Mr. Terrorist.
Yeah, I know. But not. So I flew many times since then. Never searched. This time, because I'm going to see Zach. We play a lot of board games. I put some random board game pieces like cards.
Splendor
Splendor
specifically,
like
for people who know.
Little plastic tokens.
Poker chips. They're like poker chips with gems painted on them.
They're thicker than poker chips, though.
No, they're literally poker chips with a different sticker on them.
So I put those in a plastic baggie. I put the microphone that we're using now.
The microphone, by the way, kind of looks like a dildo, which could be determined as a rocket or bomb.
So yeah, I was flagged for a search after that luggage went through the thing. And I looked through, and the guy looked at the microphone, not sure what it was, expanded it, like, okay, I guess this is cool.
I guess this is a microphone.
Yeah.
Or he kind of looked at you like, is this butt stuff?
Yeah, and he took out the Splendor tokens and looked at them, and he gave a really quizzical look like that, and just, like, turned it around and, like, yeah, okay, I don't know what that is, but it doesn't look like you're going to kill anyone with it. And put it all back, and that was it.
Splendor gems.
But yeah, I'd never... So just, if you take anything weird, they're going to
What's funny is because, same reason, I brought games, because we play board games, so I brought a game I made, and one of the games I have is, like, coins. And they're like little pirate metal coins. So obviously they came up on the scanner. And so, of course, they pulled my bag, and I had to go to the side, and they pulled out the coins, and they looked at me, and they looked at the other worker, and were like, is this okay? And I was like, they're game coins. They're for a game. They're just coins.
You said that?
Yeah, I was like, they're game coins. They're just for a game. And she just was so confused. She just looked at the other worker, and the worker said, like, yeah, they're fine.
I wonder if you just, no matter what you put, and they don't know if you go, I like to put it up my butt. They're just going to be like, okay.
Are you going to argue that? Oh, that's a funny thing, by the way, with this whole TSA stuff. Penn and Teller had a whole bit about TSA. They had a whole trick.
Yeah.
Where they brought up an audience member and they had an actual metal detector. I don't remember the trick enough to describe it, but they did tricks with a metal detector, basically, and the metal detector wand and stuff. Okay. And they, of course, talked about their Bill of Rights, which is made out of metal.
So you can say, you're taking my rights away, literally.
Exactly. But anyway, so, just to skip ahead a little bit, the same game has cards, and when me and Nick flew again, they checked my bag again.
Yeah.
And they looked through these cards, which
they checked both of our bags.
Yeah.
We both have weird shit. Like, now these fuckers are collaborating with our weird shit.
And we were just looking at each other like, they think we're terrorists, but what they don't know is we're just fucking nerds. So, the cards I have are all sleeved, and they're wrapped in a rubber band, which is the gangster way to wrap money. And so, like, she flipped through the cards, and that's when you literally said, like, we're just nerds.
I said, she thought Zach was a drug dealer. He's actually just a nerd. That's it.
Just straight fucking nerd. Like, that's all you gotta know. So, that was Tuesday. Well, you flew in on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, we skipped ahead a lot.
So you flew on Wednesday, you got all that check. I didn't know about your flight, so I wanted to hear something about that.
Alright.
So
trip to your place, which was only like a 10-minute drive away, 5-minute drive?
Oh no, wait, this was Tuesday. You flew in Tuesday night, right?
Yeah.
So this was the end. So after Penn and Teller, you had flown in.
Yes.
So after that,
I want to say $17 for Uber to go like 5 minutes from that airport.
Yeah, you got screwed by
Fucking
Uber.
Rip. I don't even know, like, that is the most expensive Uber I've ever taken in my life. I was like, what the fuck?
And it was so close.
So that's why I signed
my
up for
Lyft,
Lyft.
My Lyft was like $7. Yeah. But it was only $2 because I had a coupon.
Yeah, so I've signed up for Lyft henceforth. and I'm now comparing prices every time. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Lyft, people. Do Lyft.
Yeah. But go on.
So, that was like 11, 12-ish by the time we actually met up.
Yeah.
Because it was after I did the meet and greet. And you finally... Apparently you were stuck on the plane for a while.
Yeah. They were just waiting for a gate, I guess.
Okay, waiting for a gate to you guys to unboard.
Mm-hmm.
So we met up. We meet at the Airbnb, the sketchy area. I show you some purchases I had made. We end up eating some red candy that tasted green. And I was like, well, since you eated that...
I have not eaten many green candy in my life, so I didn't know...
Almost none.
I had no idea what to expect, and Zach didn't know I was going to take one.
I was
like, ooh, maybe I'll try
You
one.
may have been a little hasty about eating some cherry candy.
It was like midnight, 11, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it.
And I looked at you like, you know you're going to be up for a while, right?
No, I didn't fucking know that.
And I was like, I guess I'm taking one too. So we eat some candy. So we headed to the strip at that. And we basically just did big gambling, right? That's all we did.
Slot machine. We
gambled.
In-N-Out?
Oh yeah, we ate In-N-Out for the third time, yeah. And it was just as good the third time.
Yeah. It was really late at this point. There wasn't that many people around. We just kind of walked around. Maybe gambled like $5 or something.
Yeah, we didn't gamble like too much. It was
it was just going to see the
It was basically wasting time because we knew we were going to be up.
Yeah, nothing too interesting other than green candy, first experience.
Cherry candy that tasted green.
Oh, yeah. First of all, so Zach, I was on a full stomach, and Zach was like, yeah, you're going to feel it. And Zach hadn't eaten in a while, and he felt it soon. And I was like, I'm fine most of the way. And then we got back at the end of the night, and I had probably the most interesting sleep I'd ever had, where
We got back around 3 a.m.
I put it the next day is my arms were where they didn't feel like they were.
And I told you that earlier. I was like, every time I had to eat... Ow, fuck. What I didn't say is that same exact day, when I went to the store and bought candy, I had also eaten a candy... So this is the second time I eaten one, just because I was like, well, I don't want you to be solo eating candy. Like, I might as well eat one too.
Yeah.
So, it kicked in quick for me. I knew exactly what was going on. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know if you were feeling it or not.
I said I was feeling maybe a bit different, but not that
But for whatever reason, my right shoulder, felt, really sore. And I was, constantly stretching it and doing weird movements. So, sometimes you just get in, a frame of mind of something hurts or something. You get stuck on certain thoughts. And that made no sense to you until after you got
really?
there.
No, that's odd.
What the hell are you talking about, weirdo?
Yeah. But that night, as I was laying in bed not sleeping, I told Zach later that it felt like my arms were places where they weren't actually at. That's the best way I could describe the feeling. I don't know.
It really just does weird things to you. Alright, so we obviously wake up with very little sleep. Well, you wake up with very little sleep. I sleep like a baby.
I don't at all. I can quantify this because I have a Samsung watch. I slept not quite 3 hours because it's in a sketchy neighborhood. In a hotel, a nice hotel, I can sleep nice even though it's an unfamiliar environment. But if it's an unfamiliar environment and a scary one, like that was, I
You know what my note is? Airbnb is sketchy. It's sketchy.
It is very. And I can't sleep in that. The first night I get almost 3 hours.
So we wake up. I have a decent amount of sleep. I have probably 6 hours.
Yeah.
Whatever that actually quantifies to good sleep. You have maybe 3 hours of actual sleep. We Airbnb. We Lyft. We do a lot more gambling. And we realize, same as I've said, I win decent amount of money with roulette, lose a bunch of money to slots, but we're still up. We're both still up. Then we eat, and my note says we ate bomb-ass buffet at the Wynn.
Oh, yeah.
That was such a good buffet.
Great buffet. And we did not eat until...
1.
So we ate that buffet at 1 o'clock.
We ate, so the last time we had ate was the previous day at 11-ish. Well, probably 12 at In-N-Out.
Okay, then we ate at 1 o'clock p.m., the buffet.
At the buffet.
And it's a great buffet. They have all these great little desserts.
It's
they have the world's broken up. So
picture a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
Broken up into a buffet. Their sushi is fancy still, but they come in a small mini plate and only you take 2 pieces at a time. They have cheese, but it's they have the wooden barrel that has the cheese spilling out, so it looks super fancy and it's all cut up. Everything looks extra fancy. And it was only what was it $25?
Yeah.
Way worth it.
It's the number 1 on Yelp for the buffet in Vegas. So that's obviously where we went. And we ate at 1 p.m. We didn't eat later that night at
midnight. Yeah, we went like 11 hours
we
without
ate
eating.
one corn dog each, and then the next day we didn't eat again until 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's a little while.
And that sustained us a while.
It was
very good.
Amazing. Way, way, way worth our money. So, after we eat that awesome buffet, we decided to do more gambling because we're in Vegas, so what else? Well, that's what we're here to do, right? We're up, here's what happens a lot. So, we sat down and played blackjack, which was obviously our best odds, and we had $20 each, right? We went in with $20, and we kept going. It was $5 minimum, so we kept betting $5, and we kept on getting to our last $5 and going back to 10, and keep betting. And somehow we keep on doing all right, this is our last bet. We'll bet a decent amount, and we both ended up with $30 afterwards. So we're both up $10.
20, yeah.
Both of us left with $30 from that. And that was the whole story for Vegas is we kept on losing money and they're like, fuck it, let's put the rest of it on red or something. And we'd win and be like, okay, check out, we're done. That was how we kept on winning.
Yeah,
in Vegas.
Ended up a whopping $13.
And I ended up with 37 plus.
Plus 37. This is net. So we did not lose. I have a very easy tracking. I only had a $20 bill in my wallet. I have now $33
exactly.
in my wallet.
I started with $21. Same thing. I started with cash, so I knew exactly how much I was gambling each time.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can lie to themselves about that.
Yeah. It is easy to lie to yourself if you're addicted to anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem. So I started with $21. Ended up the $20 you had was money from my winnings. I was just like, here's your $20. Just take it off whatever I owe you for whatever. And then it was easier for you to keep track of how much you were up.
I had $0 until then. Then I had $20.
Exactly. So it was easy to keep track of how we were up. And that's exactly how I recommend anybody does Vegas. Is if you want to gamble with $100, take $100 cash. There's your gambling money.
Don't have any other cash.
Yeah.
So you can confuse it.
Yeah, exactly. But well, what if I just put this other $20 in and I win back the money I just lost?
Yeah.
Don't do that. And also, don't do slots. Do not. If you do slots, you do the penny slots that let you bet one line and 1 penny, so it's literally a penny slot, and you can do it 100 times.
And you're really just playing Vegas to waste your time.
Yeah, it's just, here's me just playing slots to pass an hour.
Yep.
So after we do gambling, we eat some more cherry candy that tastes very green, but there's a reason this time. And the reason is we're going to see the Blue Man Group. Now, before going into this, Nick said I have to see the Blue Man Group, but I should do it after eating some candy.
Because I had seen them with no green candy. And my thoughts...
It's cherry candy that tastes very green.
Okay. My thoughts were, this is either good for children or people that had eaten this kind of candy or smoked some related substance. It was pretty good not being one of those things. Pretty good.
Yeah.
But it would be greatly enhanced by being a child or being in a somewhat altered state of consciousness.
So, we eat our candy. We do a little more gambling just to pass the time because we have an hour before doors open.
Yeah, you gotta let it set in.
We go to doors open, we sit down. This lady sits next to me and starts talking to me. And it's kicked in. The cherry candy is kicked in, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I gotta carry a conversation. Oh, fuck. This lady wants to talk. I'm sweating bullets and trying to hold a conversation. I don't know how I actually did. I can't quantify it because I ate candy, so I'm not sure. But we talked, we talked a lot.
And I remember it kicked in for me because you guys were talking about something about a castle, and I go, the Disney castle? And she was like, no.
She had mentioned she talked about Disney.
Yeah.
But then she talked about the castle.
And then, several minutes later, she had talked about a castle casino. And
you went Disney castle?
Yeah, I just said Disney castle. You had mentioned these two things. They must be I was obviously very out of it.
So one of the awkward...
She gave me just a weird...
The hardest part about the conversation when you've eaten candy is you'll have a conversation and all of a sudden you'll run out of stuff to say because you're thinking too hard about the conversation, and then there's this awkward pause. And the awkward pause for you lasts forever, and you're just like, say something. This is going too long. You gotta say something. This is an awkward pause. You better say something. And so you say something finally. Yeah, and you finally say something and continue the conversation. But it's that like cycle of conversation, awkward pause, conversation, awkward pause, conversation, awkward pause. And I'm like looking at you, I'm like, how much time does this show start?
Yeah, he asked me that 4 or 5 times.
I was like, I just want to see lights, man. I just want to see this light show. That's all I'm thinking in my head. Like, just let this show start. Finally, the show does start. And holy crap, it was amazing. Blue Man Group, sober or not, is awesome. Like,
well, you've only seen them not sober.
But, like,
yes.
I could see not sober how they'd be amazing. And it wasn't just a light show. It was the music, the lights, and the comedy. There was a high comedy factor in the show.
It's funny.
Very high comedy factor.
It's hard to describe in words because it's such a visual
Yes, yeah, that's very
thing.
true.
Like, because before I had seen them the first time, it was like...
If you saw it on TV, it would be boring.
I don't know what they are. Yeah, it wouldn't
like,
work on TV.
It's like baseball. If you watch it on TV, it's boring as fuck. You go to the actual event, you're engrossed in the event.
Yeah. It's very
But even
hard.
more intense for Blue Man Group.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah, they give you like a band, put around your head, like a reflective band, so it reflected the blue lights that were across the whole audience. I say if you go to Vegas and don't see Blue Man Group, you screwed up. Mm-hmm. You need to see Blue Man Group.
Yeah,
that's the takeaway from that day was wow, they were good. And I think it was such a good difference because like I didn't know what to expect from them. I'm like,
before
it's Blue Man Group, I've heard of them.
The reference was Arrested Development. Then I go and blew myself, and that's all you know about them.
It's like I know they're an act in Vegas, and that's about it. I know they play like weird instruments. That's pretty much all I knew.
Yeah,
there's 3 guys. They're blue. They play odd instruments, like not your typical instruments. And there's lights. So it wasn't like I had So when you told me I have to see Blue Man Group, and I was like, I don't know. Like,
they're just blue guys.
Yeah, like
I saw the Smurfs. And
what actually is going to be good about them? But no, they turned out to be fucking awesome. And then my notes basically said mostly a blur for obvious reasons. And then we passed out.
We played an arcade, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we went to, what was that arcade called? Excalibur. Went to the Excalibur.
We went to the castle. The castle.
We went to the castle.
It had nothing to do with Disney, as it turns out. It was a casino down
we
the
played
road.
at the casino. That was pretty fun. And basically we lifted home and passed out because we both had little sleep as we thought, and slept as much as we could. Left our Airbnb, flew into LA. Now this time we flew. What was it? American United? American? It was something.
Virgin
something. It's Virgin something.
It's Virgin. I don't know.
Oh, well, it was Virgin Airlines.
It's the Richard Branson airline.
Okay. Now, this airline I was impressed by because it was complete opposite of Frontier. Frontier was still awesome just because of the staff. Virgin was awesome because they had like a video game console at the head of everybody. Like Frontier is like bare bones. We're just getting you from point A to point B. Virgin was like you need to be entertained and everything. And this was only like a 50-minute flight because we're flying to Vegas to LA. And I was like, by the time we landed, I was like, wait, we're done?
Yeah.
Like, because we were playing a trivia game. I was looking out the window the whole time because this time I had a window seat and there was fucking mountains and everything. It was a beautiful flight. So obviously I recommend them, but obviously they're more expensive, I'm assuming. Although that flight was like only $40 because it was like LA to Vegas. Yeah.
Because usually Virgin is the higher end one, like they're more expensive. But for this one, I don't know.
Depending on the price, splurge a little bit if you can get Virgin. If it's like $10 or $20 difference, you might as well go that. But Frontier, if you're looking for the cheapest...
Based on Zach's vast experience of 2 flights.
I like Frontier. I liked Frontier, though. The fucking staff was awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not
I've never flown Frontier.
It's not one of those ones you hear about often, either.
I've never heard of them before I booked it.
Really?
Never heard of them before.
I never heard of them before, either. I've heard of airlines just from listening to podcasts and people talk about the airlines they fly. I've never heard of Frontier. So, but here's a lesson learned. After we landed, we had to get a rental car and went to Advantage. if we listened to anything, or if we learned anything, it's basically that if you name a company, you probably are the opposite of what you name yourself.
Yeah.
So
they each have shuttles to their own in LAX.
From the LAX to their rental
car
place.
Rental place. Most airports, like the car rental, is in one central location close to the airport. Apparently, in LAX they have shuttles to their own. We were sitting around watching everyone else be shuttled to their car rental place, wondering when the fuck is ours going to come.
We saw like 100 budget shuttles, 100 of Enterprise. It was ridiculous, and that's the joke. Like,
and the other cheap ones too, like
Dollar and Thrifty. We saw fucking
those ones
forever.
are the other cheap ones, and I was like, shit, did I really choose the wrong cheap one too?
So we were kind of worried, like, they're gonna fucking charge us for bullshit that doesn't happen. So we're assuming they're scammers. So we're waiting. We haven't turned in the rental car yet, but we're waiting for them to say, like, oh, this is damaged. This is damaged. Like, you motherfuckers. No. I took like 100 pictures of the car before we even got in.
Yeah.
To make sure, like, we have proof that we haven't done anything.
Yeah, because they seem so scammy when they, like, when we went up to ask to get the car, they're like, do you want basic insurance or premium insurance?
Premium insurance.
And I was like, do I need to buy insurance? I have insurance. No, you don't. Well, then why didn't you say, do you want insurance?
Yeah.
And if you do you want
basic
or
advanced?
Like, you shouldn't just assume the sale.
So
that,
as
like,
a salesman,
one of those.
I call that sleazy sales.
Yeah.
Like, you're being sleazy on purpose.
Which one do you want?
Forcing somebody into an
anyone.
option. Making it seem like they have no option is sleazy sales tactics. So that's why we're saying advantage is basically disadvantage.
To lose my trust with them at all.
Yeah. Not only that, after we drove out, they do like an inspection, and they wanted you to sign. They're like, just sign here, and they're like, do we have to inspect the car? And like, well, if you're signing this, you're saying you've inspected the car and nothing wrong. So we got out. We're like, fuck it, we're gonna walk this car then. Mm-hmm. He wanted you to sign before without inspecting, and after we inspected, he's like, oh, there's damage on the front. Yeah. Like, okay, so clearly he tried to get you to sign off on something that was damaged. Mm. So, obviously they're shitty as shit. So, fuck advantage. They're disadvantaged. Don't do it. And that's the opposites. Budget is one of the bigger airlines, so I assume... Or shuttles. So, car rentals. So, I assume by budget, they're actually more expensive.
Yes, they are. They are, in fact.
So, that's what we learned by that. So Frontier, they call themselves Frontier, but they're not going to any Frontier. They're the basic ass. They're the cheapest airline. They're just going to where it's cheapest.
And Virgin is a total fucking whore.
If you pay the money, they'll take you.
Oh yeah.
So we got our shuttle. We have some time to kill because our check-in for our hotel is until 3 p.m. So we get fucking chicken and waffles. That was fucking delicious.
Yeah.
It was
How can you go
so
wrong with
good.
chicken and waffles?
I think they stereotyped us, though, because they gave me, like, little fucking chicken. They gave you, like, a whole fucking chicken.
Yeah, they're like, this guy's fat. Let's give him
I was like, what the hell? Like, why am I just getting this little bit of chicken? Like, that's fucked up.
I was alright with it.
The service was terrible, though, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It seemed like it took 20 minutes to get our food and 20 minutes... Actually, we didn't even get our check. We just walked up to the cashier.
Oh, yeah, we had to walk over and say...
And she saw us. We didn't even say that. She saw us and handed our checks. Yeah. She's like, oh, you guys didn't get your checks, basically. After that, we're like... We had to be, in L.A., right?
Yeah.
We had to drive into, like, a certain part of L.A. So, I was just like, we have 2 or 3 hours. Let's just... Head there and stop somewhere on the way.
Yeah, our check-in wasn't until like 3 or something, so we had time to kill. Because we arrived at like 9.
Yeah. So, on the way, we happened to be on La Brea Avenue or street or road.
I've heard of La Brea. It has tar pits, right?
No, I said, like, La Brea, that sounds familiar. I've heard of La Brea. And you're like, yeah, they have the tar pits. I was like, well, why don't we go to the tar pits?
Yeah.
So we go to the tar pits. Turns out that was pretty interesting. Like, seeing actual tar pits, it does...
Well, they're mostly puddles.
Yeah. It's kind of boring to look at, but to read the facts is interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Interesting to see.
Like, actually seeing the tar pits is boring. Reading about it, like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, and what they had... We saw tar pit 3, 4, and 91. We skipped a few because we're like...
We skipped a few 80.
Yeah, we skipped a few there, and we're like, we might as well buy tickets to the museum of La Brea.
The Tar Pit Museum.
Yes, the Tar Pit Museum.
We're going to buy... They had a Tar Pit Museum. We're like, we'll buy tickets to that. We're going to look at the Tar Pit.
So I go to buy tickets to the Tar Pit Museum.
Yeah.
I grab the tickets. I pay for them. We go in. She stubs them, and we're looking around. And we're like... I finally actually look at the ticket, and it goes, Los Angeles County Art Museum.
That's...
This is a tar pit. Yeah, like, why is this a bunch of art? What's...
That's a different museum all the way over there.
This area has, like, 3 fucking museums surrounding it.
But it was a good museum, so it worked out.
Except... the first floor is all modern art, so there's... The only good section was Pablo Picasso, which I got yelled at for taking a picture of, because it's apparently a private collection.
But yeah, it was cool. You got to see a bunch of Picassos, and then...
The first floor was kind of boring, because the
modern art, man. Like, what the fuck is this? There was one that was a sink, I think.
It's just a sink.
There were the ones that were just 3 colors put on top of each other.
Yeah, there's 3 squares, basically.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about.
With different colors.
I don't, like, you look at it and you're like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on. There were a couple Warhols.
Yeah, Warhols was good.
There was the Campbell tomato soup thing.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is without knowing some of the modern art ones, the ones that grabbed my attention turned out to be the people that were famous. Like, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, it's Picasso. Duh.
Yeah.
It's like... The only ones that grabbed your attention were people who were famous anyways. So, the second floor, though, was pretty interesting because it was more of, like, the Renaissance and 1700s and 1600s. Yeah,
they got to European, like, 1500s.
You had a lot of religious art and Greek and Roman mythology art.
That was in a different building. But, yeah, then you get...
It was all the L.A. County, though.
Yeah. It was actually, like... Turned out this was a huge system of, like... 4 or 5 buildings of
it was huge.
They had like ancient Greek and Roman and ancient Egyptian.
It was only $12 a ticket.
Yeah, they had a huge amount of shit.
We actually didn't get to see all of it because turned out we ended up spending a lot of time there because it was actually interesting after the modern art part.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh shit, we actually got to leave because now it's time to pass out.
Or we haven't slept that much. I haven't slept that much.
Yeah, we're like, it's time to fucking pass out. I
want to get to a safe place to sleep. Safe place.
We skipped like the Japanese part of it, which it would have been cool to see, but
there was also Korean and Chinese art. We skipped all the Eastern art.
Yeah, we did. The Egyptian one was fucking cool to see Egyptian artifacts. Yeah. Like there was literally a sarcophagus there, like a mummy. That was cool.
Stuff from 2000 BC.
So I didn't know. You informed me that Egypt, I was thinking maybe it was 1000 BC. You're like, no, that's like 3000 BC. And they had one that was 2500 BC was the oldest one they had.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, damn.
Artifact.
To like think that still exists.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. So we finally, we gotta leave. I really recommend going to that art museum. If you're into art at all, or history, that was actually really cool. And plus you're by the La Brea Tar Pits, which is free to look at those. Mm-hmm. I can't speak for the actual museum because we bought tickets for the wrong place. So I don't know.
The museums might be good,
you could easily spend a whole day there.
Yeah.
So we left there, we went to the hotel, and we just fucking passed out for 3 or 4 hours. Mm-hmm. Like, we needed to catch up on sleep.
It wasn't a hotel, it was an apartment complex, but not an Airbnb because the person didn't live there.
It was like a hotel Airbnb.
Yeah, it was like a hybrid between hotel and Airbnb.
So it was like weird. 4 rooms and a shared kitchen.
Yeah.
And bathroom. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to put it. It's basically they bought a house and rented it out, but a hotel owned it.
Yeah.
That's like the way to put it. So they Airbnb'd apartment. Mm. So we passed the fuck out. We wake up. Today on the agenda was the Comedy Store. And I look up who's actually there because when we bought the tickets, we have no idea. It just says 16 headliners. Whoever actually headlines, we don't know. Turns out we have fucking Joe Rogan. First of all, I'm like, holy shit, is this real? Like, do we actually have Joe Rogan? Yes. Mark Maron? Okay, he's funny too. Bobby Lee? Hilarious. Eliza Schlesinger? Hilarious too. Like, turns out we have like 4 or 5 comedians we actually know and appreciate. At least I do. You know for sure Joe Rogan and Mark Maron. Mm. Bobby Lee, you knew once I showed you the picture of him.
Once I saw who he was, I knew who he was.
So we're like kind of shocked. Like, this is actually going to turn out to be awesome. So we get there pretty early, and we do drinks and everything, and we get in line. There's like one black dude in front of us. I don't want to point out he's black, but it's actually important to the story. Yeah. And then there's
Every comedian did. Why can't we?
Yeah. And then there's a couple in front of us, and this black dude, Ken, shout out to Ken. He's like, hey guys, are you guys going up front? And like, I don't know, we're just trying to get as close as we can. And like, well, I'm going solo, and they won't let me go up front if it's just me. Can I say I'm with you guys? And we're like, well, yeah, we want to get up front if we can get up as close seats. He's like, yeah, just say you're with me and with the group. This guy's clearly been to the Comedy Store plenty of times. So we were like, okay, well, yeah, we'll say we're with you. Now, when he says front seats, like, the stage is there, and as a part of the stage, we're, like, our seats are right in front of it. Like, there's a border around the stage, and that's, like, where we put our arms.
Yeah.
We could grab the mic from the comedian if we so felt like it. Like, we could see their skin, like their pores, like it was so
close.
I've never been that close to a stage. Let's put it that way. Because at concert, there's like that buffer with security guards. There's no buffer. Like you're against
you could rush
the stage.
The stage and start fighting that guy. No problem.
I could have. So it was so close. It was weird. Like we ordered a shit ton of food because we were fucking starving. Because this is like 8 o'clock. We really haven't eaten anything since 12. We ate the chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
So we've gone like 8 hours without eating.
I think we ordered that at like 10 a.m.
Actually, you're right. It might have been around 10 or 11. So we're hungry, so we're eating. The first guy that comes up is basically like, he's the guy to prime everybody.
And he checked our IDs.
Yeah, he checked our IDs.
It was really weird.
Which, if you know anything about the Comedy Store, though, the people that work there tend to be comedians that also perform there. So he gets up and he says something, of course, about us having all this fucking food in front of us when we're here to see comedians. Because I think typically people just drink alcohol.
Yeah.
So he makes a joke about us eating a bunch of food. And I looked at him and was just like, I'm hungry, dude. So he gets down. I forget who comes up after him. Like, maybe we should bring up the lineup.
I think it was the...
Actually, I have the lineup right here.
The Venezuelan guy.
Yeah, the Venezuelan guy.
He was
too
pretty
bad.
funny.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Oh, I'm mixing him up with the Puerto Rican. What was his nationality?
There was a Puerto Rican.
What was the? It wasn't the Iranian.
No, there was a. I think he was from Venezuela. Somewhere.
The guy who talked about his family a lot. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Well, first off was Matt Dillon. That doesn't really help me.
That's the guy that checked out.
That was the check-in. Francisco Ramos.
Yeah, that was the second
guy. That was the guy, okay. He was funny. He was pretty funny. Yeah, you're right. He was funny. Maz Jabrani. I don't even remember that name. He was before Eliza Schlesinger.
Did they really? I don't remember that. I don't know if they actually brought him up. I think it might have been...
No, he came up.
I don't remember him.
Well, anyways, obviously they weren't good enough to remember, but I do remember laughing a lot before that. But before that, the guy who stubbed our tickets probably was the funniest.
Yeah, yeah.
Then Eliza Schlesinger comes up and kills it. Like, she had us cracking up. She had a lot of jokes about... What was the millennial joke? That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. She's talking about how she's the oldest, in the oldest group of millennials.
It's like...
So she had to tell, tales of the old times to the children. Come here, let me tell you about landlines.
She was really funny. Then at
her super high pitch. Sometimes she takes this fucking high pitch.
Yeah, that hurt your ears.
Like, yeah. But other than that, she was
she was hilarious. But she brings up Bobby Lee, and Bobby Lee, I could barely breathe through because he had me laughing the whole fucking time. Like I couldn't. And then he points out Nick and goes, "Oh, you're a cutie. I would fuck you, like, but I would be the bottom."
Yeah,
crack the shit up. And then he deep throated the mic stand.
Yeah. It's like as if it was a black penis, I believe. It was the setup for that joke.
The funny thing is, before this, the Ken dude that we talked to about this, before we got on, like, before anybody got on stage, he talked about Bobby Lee being gross and weird, and he's definitely going to point people out in front, right in front. And he also talked about being, since he's the only black guy, usually, when he comes here, he's going to get pointed out a bunch, and he did. Like, every time there was a black joke, he got pointed out. Yeah. He got fist bumped it a lot. Mm-hmm. The other Bobby Lee joke that was funny was there was a Asian male and a white female couple, and he pointed them out. And what did he say? He says
like, all right, dude, that's a win for us.
Yeah.
Like, cause
usually it's the other way around.
And he's like so happy. Asian guy, white girl, win.
That was so funny. He has like crowd participation, but in that minimalist style. Like
he had his own set of jokes to tell, regardless of who was
there.
there.
But he added on to them.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about him. Mark Maron came up, complete opposite of Bobby Lee, like, set the tone, slowed it down, but was just as funny in a whole nother way. And his was like Debbie Downer, like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Like, this shit sucks.
He was very pessimistic, but in a hilarious way. Especially about his dad.
Yeah. He brought out the stool. He's the first one to actually sit on the stool. He sat down on the stool and propped his feet right up onto our food, basically, and right up in Nick's face. Like, that's how close we were. Like, his feet were in our food almost.
And he sits there and stares at you when he's talking sometimes. It's like, you have to, like, nod your head like, I'm agreeing with you, because it's very weird. You're staring at me and asking me a question right now.
And he had his water, and everyone else put their water on the stool, because they didn't sit down on the stool, but he was sitting on the stool. So he put his water right next to my drink, and every time he did it, he went and slammed it right next to my drink. Not like he just set it there. For whatever reason, he slammed it. I don't understand why.
He wants you to know he's here.
Yeah.
In that space.
I was wondering if it was like make sure you don't drink my water. Like, that's what I kind of like thought of it as.
Water.
Yeah, that's what I thought of it as. So, like, okay, I get it. Like, that's your water. Like, I'm not going to drink your water. But he was hilarious. A lot of Trump jokes about, like, you can't even write Trump jokes because you don't even know what the motherfucker's going to do the next day.
And you couldn't even tell whether it was real or not. His example was like, Trump is now allowing hunting in zoos. Would you even be able to tell if that was a real headline or a fake one? I could believe Trump would let that happen.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So he was absolutely hilarious. Sebastian, he was one of the ones that kind of...
That was the Italian guy?
Yeah, he was like, meh.
He was disappointing.
It's just, his jokes were funny, but after Mark Maron and Eliza Schlesinger, it was hard to follow up.
Yeah.
He was just put in a bad spot.
That's not my kind of humor, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That too.
That funny.
But after Sebastian, we had Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was hilarious, but once again, he has more thinky humor. So you're laughing hard, and then you're stopping to like think, like, that makes a lot of sense. Half of his set was about how pro wrestling is gay. The other half was about the difference between males and females and how society pretends like there isn't a difference. So that was hilarious. I don't want to give away like all these jokes. Then all of a sudden, every comedian that comes up has to bring up the next comedian. They have to introduce them. So they say the piano guy or whatever tells them who they're bringing up, and he goes Chris, and Joe Rogan goes Chris whatever, and he goes no Chris Tucker, and Joe Rogan goes Chris Tucker. Mm-hmm. He's like, everybody, Chris Tucker. So Chris Tucker comes up stage. He was a surprise guest. He turned out to be pretty funny.
Yeah.
And fat. Turns out he's a little chubby.
Yeah.
But he was pretty funny the whole time.
He was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I would put him in the top. He was definitely way better than that fucking Italian guy.
Yeah. He was below like Joe Rogan and Mark Maron, Bobby Lee, and Elijah Schlesinger, but just under them. And he hasn't been obviously doing this for a while.
Yeah.
So he was funny.
He was still pretty funny.
Yeah.
The joke about Stevie Wonder, not really.
He ignored the fact that he was fat, and that's why I appreciate the next comedian, because he pointed it out real quick.
Who knew Chris Tucker got so fat? Yeah, this was a no-name that came up after Chris Tucker.
And the no-name is smart because he mentioned he's a no-name. Like, he's like, oh, Chris Tucker, pretending like he knows me.
Yeah.
Because Chris Tucker had to bring him up. The no-name was funny. Let's give him a shout. Neil Brennan. He was really funny. He was actually quite funny. And we're kind of like gauging, like, maybe we should leave. Let's see how all these other no-names are.
So this was the first guy I knew that no one had ever heard of, amateur. And I was like, all right, some of the amateurs are really good. Let's stay.
That didn't last long.
While.
Next guy was Eddie Pipitone. I think that was the guy with the green shirt that yelled fucking loud.
He had like the Sam Kinison style where if he didn't have something funny to say, he just shouted
yelled
like fucking loud as shit. He had a couple really funny bits, but most of it
What was the
on
element
that.
one?
Oh, yeah. So, you never heard of him, and he's like a 60-year-old man. So, he talked about how, now that you've seen the headliners, now you get him. He'll let you show what usually happens. Failure. And he has a Honda Element, which gives him plenty of space to cry in about his failed dreams, and that was the funny
That
bit.
was funny.
Most of the rest of it was just not funny at all. A lot of it was just shouting,
Yeah, it was a lot of just shouting about how my life sucks.
Yeah.
Like, Mark Maron was pessimistic, but really funny.
Yeah,
he was just pessimistic.
He was pessimistic with punchlines.
Yeah.
That guy, I'm not sure, had punchlines for most of the things he said.
Yeah, no.
Maybe he's just actually really legitimately sad.
So, turns out the Comedy Store was hilarious. We left after a couple more comedians because we're like, this is
they
really gone
go
downhill.
downhill really fast.
Yeah. Who knows, though? Some of the later comedians may have been hilarious. We didn't stay long enough to say. Neil Brennan, though. You were really funny.
Yeah.
So, we pass out because it was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. after that many comedians.
Mm.
We wake up pretty early, like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, checkout's 10, so...
Yeah. We wake up about 8 o'clock and we didn't drive to a Target, so we drove to a Target. We drove to a Target, and then we went to Santa Monica Beach. That was really nice. Ate some fish on the pier, on the boulevard.
Boardwalk.
The boardwalk.
Yes.
I thought they called it a pier, though.
I don't
Isn't
know
it a pier?
I'm pretty sure they call it the boardwalk. No, I don't know. Maybe
I think they call it a pier because it goes into the ocean. I think a boardwalk goes across the beach.
Oh shit, you might be right. That sounds right.
And a pier goes into the ocean.
It's a bunch of wood going out into the ocean. that you walk
Which I think
upon.
is a pier.
We'll figure this one out.
I think
later,
it's the
folks.
Santa Monica pier.
But it's the wood. I think he's right now, actually. But it's the wood in Santa Monica. That you walk
It's
up
the
on.
wood. Beach is really fun. I mean, what can you say? It's a beach. It's a different lifestyle. It's pretty awesome.
Mm.
So we chilled there. Got to swim in the beach for a while. Get the tan on. And then what did we do after that? We drove to our next hotel, which is where we're at now. Which was, okay, this is like our catch-up time. We got laundry done and all that shit. And then we went to Costco to get some food and alcohol so we could podcast.
Liquor.
And this is where we're at now.
Inspiration.
Ready for UFC 214 tomorrow.
Mm.
And you'll hear our bets because that'll come out before this podcast. So we'll let you know how we do.
Yeah.
Adios, amigos.